Hello and a very good evening. You're watching the news tonight. I'm Frank Rausen Pereira and we'd like to make an appeal to you at the top of this newscast. Rajya Sabha TV appeals to all its viewers to stay safe from the COVID-19 pandemic. Wear face masks, wash hands and face regularly and maintain physical distancing while stepping outside. Remember, these simple precautions are all that it takes to defeat the pandemic. And now let's bring you the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reviews progress on research and mechanism for distribution of potential COVID-19 vaccine, emphasizes need for more sero surveys and testing, promises support for Indian vaccine manufacturers. Cinema halls and entertainment parks back in business in many states including Delhi and Uttar Pradesh with COVID-19 protocols. Swimming pools for training also opened. Government puts into motion plan to tackle air pollution in Delhi NCR, bans use of generators except for emergency services, 50 teams to monitor pollution hotspots. Union Minister Nitin Gadkari inaugurates construction work on Zojila Tunnel. Once completed, project will ensure all-weather connectivity and reduce travel time between Srinagar and Leh. In a strong message, New Delhi warns Beijing against interfering in India's internal matters, asserts that Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh and Arunachal Pradesh are an integral part of the country. Well, let's begin with our top focus on the bulletin this evening, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Thursday reviewed progress on the research and development of a potential COVID-19 vaccine. The Prime Minister also took stock of the Health Ministry's distribution and delivery mechanism for the vaccine. Appreciating the efforts of the Indian vaccine developers, he assured that the government will facilitate and support their efforts. The Prime Minister also reiterated India's commitment to provide a cost-effective, easily available and scalable solution for testing, vaccine and medication for all. He also emphasized the need for continuous, rigorous scientific testing and validation of traditional medicine treatments. Prime Minister Modi also stressed on scaling up testing and sero surveys in the country. In India, 2 indigenously developed vaccines, one by Bharat Biotech in collaboration with ICMR and another one by Zydus Cadila, are undergoing phase 2 human trials. The Oxford AstraZeneca coronavirus vaccine is undergoing phase 3 trials. Well, after remaining shut for nearly 7 months, cinema halls and schools opened in several parts of the country on Thursday with full precautions against COVID-19 as directed by the centre under Unlock 5 guidelines.
Cinemas, theatre, multiplexes, entertainment parks, swimming pool and schools open outside containment zone after nearly 7 months amid the novel coronavirus pandemic. Under Unlock 5.0 guidelines, theatres have to limit their operations to 50% capacity, while halls have to be sanitized after each screening. Seats have to be left vacant for social distancing and are marked with fluorescent markers. Crowding in lobbies, common areas and lifts is not allowed. The guidelines also suggest longer intermissions to allow audiences seated in different rows to move in a staggered manner. States like Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, Himachal Pradesh, Haryana, Punjab, West Bengal, Karnataka and Gujarat resumed operations from Thursday, while governments of Maharashtra, Rajasthan, Odisha have not allowed cinema halls to open until October 31st. Several states have decided not to open schools. Uttar Pradesh, Assam, Puducherry and Punjab started class 11th and 12th outside containment zones. Schools in Andhra Pradesh will remain shut till November 2nd. West Bengal and Gujarat have decided to take a call on the matter only in mid-November. Maharashtra and Delhi have decided to keep the schools shut till 31st October. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, it's time now for the COVID-19 situation in the country, and it's time to bring you the latest information from there. India continues to report significant decrease in the number of daily new cases and deaths. 680 coronavirus-related deaths were reported in the last 24 hours, the lowest since July 27th. For the last 12 days now, the number of deaths have remained below 1,000. The doubling rate of cases have also improved. According to the Health Ministry, doubling time of COVID-19 cases has improved from 25.5 days in mid-August to nearly 73 days now. This is being attributed to high increase in the recoveries and a persistent decline in the percentage of active cases. The doubling time is the number of days it takes for the case count to double. 81,540 new recoveries were added in the last 24 hours, taking the total number of recoveries to 63.83 lakhs. The national recovery rate has improved to 87.36%. India reported 67,708 new confirmed cases and 680 cases of fatality in the last 24 hours. Total cases have crossed 73 lakhs, including 1,11,266 deaths. Presently, the active cases comprise 11.12% of the total positive cases of the country, standing at 8.12 lakhs. India conducted more than 11.3 lakh tests in the last 24 hours and more than 9.1 crore tests till now. Maharashtra, Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh reported the highest number of cases in the last 24 hours. Maximum number of deaths in the same period were reported from Maharashtra, Karnataka, West Bengal, Tamil Nadu and Delhi. India's daily count of coronavirus cases, which touched nearly 1 lakh in the middle of September, has fallen sharply. India's daily fatalities, although still among the highest, are also declining. Increase in Wednesday's death count was the lowest since July 27th. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television. Meanwhile, Russia on Wednesday approved a second COVID-19 vaccine after preliminary trials. In an online government meeting, Russian President Vladimir Putin informed that the vaccine developed by Serbia's Vector Institute had been given regulatory approval. The new vaccine, EpiVac Corona, completed early-stage trials involving 100 volunteers last month. Late-stage trials involving 40,000 volunteers is scheduled from November. Russia registered the world's first coronavirus vaccine named Sputnik V in early August. Meanwhile, American President Donald Trump is optimistic that a safe and effective COVID-19 vaccine will be available by the end of the year. Well, moving on to other important news now, Union Minister Nitin Gadkari on Thursday launched the first blasting for construction-related work at the 14-kilometer Zojila Tunnel. Touted as one of the longest bi-directional road tunnel in Asia, it will provide all-year connectivity between Srinagar and Leh.
15 years after it was first conceived, work on strategically crucial 14.15 kilometers Zojila Tunnel connecting Srinagar to Leh with all-weather road has finally taken off. Initiating the blast at a virtual ceremony on Thursday, Road Transport and Highways Minister Nitin Gadkari termed it a moment of pride for India. The ministry said the tunnel will not only provide all-weather connectivity between Srinagar, Dras, Kargil and Leh, but will also further strengthen the economic and social cultural integration of both the union territories.
निश्चित रूप से लद्दाख और लेह की और कश्मीर की इकोनॉमी बदलने में इसका उपयोग होगा। ये टनल की लंबाई 14.15 किलोमीटर है और यह अपने आप में आशिया में सबसे बड़ी टनल बनने वाली है, एक रिकॉर्ड बनने वाला है।
The project holds strategic significance as Zojila Pass is situated at an altitude of 11,578 feet on Srinagar-Kargil Leh National Highway and remains closed during winters due to heavy snowfall. At present, it's one of the most dangerous stretches in the world to drive a vehicle, and this project is also geostrategically sensitive. The tunnel, once ready, will reduce the travel time between Srinagar and Leh from 3 hours to 15 minutes. The project will make the travel on Srinagar-Leh-Kargil highway section of NH1 free from avalanches.
ये टनल एशिया की सबसे बड़ी बाई डायरेक्शनल टनल होगी जिसमें 80 किलोमीटर प्रति घंटे की रफ्तार से वाहन चल सकेंगे। श्रीनगर, कारगिल और लेह को 12 महीने जोड़ने के लिए ये टनल मुझे लगता है केवल सुविधा नहीं देने वाली है, बल्कि ये दोनों यूनियन टेरिटरीज की ऑलराउंड आर्थिक, सामाजिक और सांस्कृतिक गठजोड़ को और भी मजबूती प्रदान करेगा। सामरिक दृष्टि से भी हमारी आवश्यकताओं की पूर्ति होगी और श्रीनगर, कारगिल, लेह ऑल वेदर कनेक्टिविटी के अलावा जोजिला पास का जो 3.5 आवर्स का ट्रेवल टाइम है वह घटकर सिर्फ 15 मिनट हो जाएगा।
Now we will have double all weather connectivity. एक रोहतांग के माध्यम से सीधा हिमाचल मनाली और दूसरा जोजिला के माध्यम से जम्मू कश्मीर। Not only will this tunnel facilitate tourism, but a day will come when this tunnel will itself be a tourist destination.
Prime Minister Modi in May 2018 had laid the foundation stone for Rs 6,800 crore project in Jammu and Kashmir. The project was first conceived in the year 2005 and its detailed project report was prepared by BRO in the year 2013. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, India on Thursday asserted that the union territories of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh have been, are and will remain an integral part of the country. Addressing the media, External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Anurag Srivastav insisted that China has no locus standi to comment on its internal matters. Srivastav also said that Arunachal Pradesh is an integral and inalienable part of India.
Our position has been always consistent. The union territories of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh have been, are and would remain an integral part of India. China has no locus standi to comment on India's internal matters. We hope that countries will not comment on India's internal matters as much as they expect the same for others. Arunachal Pradesh is also an integral and inalienable part of India. This fact has also been clearly conveyed to the Chinese side on several occasions, including at the highest level.
Well, India on Thursday denied claim by Pakistan Prime Minister's National Security Advisor that India sent a message with its desire for talks. Addressing the media, External Affairs Ministry spokesperson Anurag Srivastav said, as always, this is Pakistan's effort to divert attention from domestic failures of the present government. He added the official is well advised to restrict his counsel to his establishment and not to comment on India's domestic policy.
We have seen reports on the interview by a senior Pakistani official to an Indian media outlet, and he has commented on India's internal matters. As always, this is Pakistan's effort to divert attention from domestic failures of the present government and mislead its domestic constituents by pulling India into headlines on a daily basis. The official is well advised to restrict his advice to his establishment and not to comment on India's domestic policy. The statements made by him are contrary to facts on the ground, misleading and fictitious.
Meanwhile, replying to a separate question, Srivastav said India will deliver a Kilo-class submarine to the Myanmar Navy as part of defense cooperation between the two nations.
Cooperation in the maritime domain is an important part of our enhanced engagement with Myanmar, and in this context, India will be delivering a Kilo-class submarine, INS Sindhuvir, to the Myanmar Navy. We understand that this will be the first submarine of the Myanmar Navy. This is in accordance with our vision of Sagar, which is security and growth for all in the region. And also, this would be in line with our commitment to build capacities and self-reliance in all our neighboring countries.
Well, Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar on Thursday flagged off 50 inspection teams of the Central Pollution Control Board for field visits in Delhi NCR to keep watch on pollution hotspots during the winter season. The 50 teams will make field visits from October 15 to February 28 next year and monitor air pollution hotspots. Javadekar urged the Punjab government to curb stubble burning while stating that stubble burning is not the only factor responsible for air pollution in Delhi NCR.
पराली का आज का पोल्यूशन का लोड 10% है, 3%। अभी तो केवल 4% लोड पराली का है, तो 96% प्रदूषण लोकल फैक्टर्स से है। यानी आपने यहाँ कचरे का प्रबंधन ठीक न करना, यहाँ भी बायोमास बर्निंग होती है, अनपेव्ड रोड्स रखना, धूल उड़ना, धूल का सप्रेशन काम न करना, ये हमें देखना है।
Meanwhile, anti-pollution measures under the Graded Response Action Plan came into force on Thursday in the Delhi NCR region. Delhi government has banned use of electricity generators except those needed for essential or emergency services in the national capital. Delhi Pollution Control Committee has also directed power companies to ensure an uninterrupted power supply to the consumers. Well, moving on to other news now, on the 75th anniversary of the Food and Agriculture Organization, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will release a commemorative coin of 75 rupees denomination on Friday. The coin will mark India's long-standing relation with FAO. According to the PMO, the Prime Minister will also dedicate to the nation 17 recently developed biofortified varieties of 8 crops. It will be witnessed by Anganwadis, Krishi Vigyan Kendras, and organic and horticulture missions across the country. The Union Agriculture Minister, Finance Minister, and Women and Child Development Minister will also be present on the occasion. Well, the Parliamentary Committee on Information Technology held its meeting on Thursday. The committee is headed by Lok Sabha MP Dr. Shashi Tharoor. The panel heard the views of the representatives of the News Broadcasters Association, Press Council of India and Prasar Bharati on the subject Ethical Standards in Media Coverage. The agenda also included oral evidence of the representatives of the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting on the subject Ethical Standards in Media Coverage. Media in India is mostly self-regulated. Existing bodies for regulation of media such as the Press Council of India, which is a statutory body, and the News Broadcasting Standards Authority, a self-regulatory organization, issue standards which are more in the nature of guidelines. The Joint Committee on the Personal Data Protection Bill 2019 held its meeting on Thursday. Oral evidence by the representatives of a law firm, Trilegal Bangalore, was on the agenda. The Personal Data Protection Bill 2019 regulates the processing or use of individuals' data by the state and private entities. Here's more. The Joint Parliamentary Committee formed to examine and provide recommendations to the Personal Data Protection Bill 2019 met on Thursday. The committee is eliciting views of various stakeholders and heard from representatives of the law firm Trilegal Bangalore. The committee was given an extension to submit its report by the second week of the winter session in 2021. The JPC, which was formed in Lok Sabha last year, has 20 members from the Lok Sabha and 10 from the Rajya Sabha. BJP MP Meenakshi Lekhi is heading the committee. The Personal Data Protection Bill of 2019 was introduced in the Lok Sabha by Minister of Electronics and Information Technology Ravi Shankar Prasad on the 11th of December 2019. The bill provides for protection of personal data of individuals and establishes a data protection authority for the same. It also governs the processing of personal data by the government, companies incorporated in India, and foreign companies dealing with personal data of individuals in India. Personal data as envisaged in the bill pertains to characteristics, traits, or attributes of identity that can be used to identify an individual. The bill categorizes certain personal data as sensitive personal data. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha Television. Well, nearly 50 people have died so far in the heavy rains that have lashed Telangana. Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao, who held a review meeting, said that the destruction in the state was estimated at 5,000 crore rupees. In neighbouring Andhra Pradesh, as many as 371 villages have been inundated. More than 10 people died in rain-related incidents in the last 2 days. Union Minister Amit Shah assured Chief Ministers of Telangana and Andhra Pradesh of all help in destruction situation arising out of the unprecedented torrential rains. He said the centre is closely monitoring the situation in all the rain-affected states. In Hyderabad, over 44,000 people were shifted to 64 relief camps from low-lying areas and rain-affected areas. Rain operations are underway with the Army, National Disaster Management Forces and local authorities taking part in the relief and restoration work. Heavy rains have also lashed Pune, Solapur and Kolhapur cities of Maharashtra. Nearly 50 people had to be evacuated from two flood-hit villages in Solapur. 4 people were swept away by a swollen stream in Pune. National Disaster Response Force, District Disaster Management Cell have been deployed to evacuate stranded people. In Karnataka, the flood situation worsened further on Thursday with several areas in the northern parts of the state inundated due to torrential rains. 4,782 people were shifted to 36 relief camps. Well, moving on to news from poll-bound Bihar now, where election campaigning has intensified. Star campaigners of the BJP, JDU and left parties addressed rallies in different parts of the state. Chief Minister Nitish Kumar addressed 4 political rallies at Chakai, Shekhpura, Lakhisarai and Paliganj. Addressing a rally at Chakai in Jamui district, he said 15 years track record of his government shows how the positive changes have happened in Bihar.
कानून का राज कायम किया, जंगल राज खत्म हुआ, विकास का काम शुरू हुआ, आपस में प्रेम और भाईचारे का माहौल बना। हर तरह से हम लोगों ने कोशिश करने की चेष्टा की है और उसका परिणाम है कि आज बिहार आगे बढ़ा है।
BJP President JP Nadda also addressed 2 election rallies in Karakat and Go Assembly constituencies. Addressing the gathering, Nadda said country's healthcare facilities have improved under Prime Minister Modi's leadership. The first phase of polling will be held on October 28th in 71 assembly constituencies spread over 16 districts.
2014 से लेकर के 2020 6 साल के अंदर 11 मेडिकल कॉलेज दिए हैं। आज बिहार में 14 मेडिकल कॉलेज खुले। आज मैं आपको बताना आया हूं कि मोदी जी का 1,25,000 करोड़ के ऊपर 40 लाख करोड़ और दिया है बिहार के विकास के लिए। इसको भी हमको समझना चाहिए।
Well, another news now, costume designer Bhanu Attaiya, India's first Oscar winner, died at her home on Thursday after prolonged illness. She was 91. The Kolhapur-born Attaiya, who worked till just 5 years ago, began her career as a costume designer in Hindi cinema with Guru Dutt's 1956 super hit CID. She went on to work in over 100 films. She won the Academy Award for Best Costume Design in Richard Attenborough's Gandhi with Ben Kingsley as the Mahatma along with John Mollo. The lavish biopic of Mahatma Gandhi swept the Oscars with 8 awards. Well, the nation paid homage to former President Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam on his birth anniversary on Thursday. Kalam was the 11th President of India from 2002 to 2007, popularly known as the Missile Man of India. He was the architect of India's space and missile program. He was awarded the Bharat Ratna, India's highest civilian award, in 1997. Dr. Kalam is also the recipient of several other awards, including the Padma Bhushan and the Padma Vibhushan. President Ramnath Kovind, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and many other leaders paid tribute to Dr. Kalam. President Kovind paid floral tributes to Dr. Kalam at Rashtrapati Bhavan. While remembering Kalam, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu recalled his words that dreams transform into thoughts and thoughts result in action. Describing Kalam as a people's president, Naidu said that he was the epitome of simplicity and knowledge. Lauding his invaluable contribution in strengthening India's defense and space capabilities, the Vice President said Kalam will always remain an inspiration to every Indian. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also paid tributes to Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Prime Minister Modi said Indians will never forget his indelible contributions towards national development both as president and scientist. He added that Kalam's life journey gives strength to millions. Meanwhile, Home Minister Amit Shah, BJP President JP Nadda, Prakash Javadekar and several other political leaders also paid tribute to Abdul Kalam on his 89th birth anniversary. Well, the International Day of Rural Women is observed on October 15th every year. The day recognizes the crucial role of women and girls in ensuring the sustainability of rural households and communities, improving rural livelihoods and overall well-being. The theme for this year is building rural women's resilience in the wake of COVID-19 to create awareness of these women's struggles, their needs and their critical and key role in our society. In India, the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare observes the day as the Rashtriya Mahila Kisan Divas since 2016 to increase the active participation of women in agriculture. From agriculture to food security, nutrition, land and natural resource management, domestic care and work, rural women are at the forefront. Data shows that women comprise about 43% of the agricultural labor force globally and in developing countries. The United Nations General Assembly established the day on the 18th of December 2007 and was observed for the first time in 2008. Well, October 15th is Global Hand Washing Day. This day is dedicated to increasing awareness and understanding about the importance of hand washing with soap as an effective and affordable way to prevent diseases and save lives. This year's theme, Hand Hygiene for All, calls for all of society to achieve universal hand hygiene. The COVID-19 pandemic provides a stark reminder that one of the most effective ways to stop the spread of a virus is also one of the simplest, hand hygiene, especially through hand washing with soap. To beat the virus today and ensure better health and outcomes beyond the pandemic, hand washing with soap must be a priority now and in the future.
स्वच्छता का एक रूप ये है कि हम हाइजीन पे हाथ धोते रहें और अपने हाथों को साफ रखें।
विश्व स्तर पर चाहे वो अमेरिका हो, फ्रांस हो, जर्मनी हो, उन लोगों ने भी हाथ मिलाना बंद कर दिया। क्यों? क्योंकि हाथ से एक संक्रमित हाथ से दूसरे हाथ में संक्रमित में चला जाना और फिर उस हाथ को आप नाक के पास या सांस के पास ले गए तो उससे बीमारी जो है काफी हद तक फैलने लगी।
That's it in this newscast. But before we leave, we'd like to make an appeal to you. Rajya Sabha TV appeals to all its viewers to stay safe from the COVID-19 pandemic. Wear a mask, wash your hands regularly, your face as well, and maintain physical distancing while stepping outside. Remember, these simple precautions are all that it takes to defeat the pandemic.